What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Sunday, June 2nd, 2024, and I have some breaking news to share with you guys. Right now, it is 15:16 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from Europe and the Middle East. So, what you're looking at here are two U.S. nuclear war command and control planes up in the air over the eastern United States this afternoon, and they have been transmitting nuclear attack options. I counted several, probably about half a dozen in the past 2 hours. So, our nuclear forces are definitely on high alert for some reason. For there to be two of these airborne on a Sunday afternoon is pretty unusual. We have one that went out into the southern Atlantic, and then we have one over the Ozark Mountains. We also have an update on the aircraft carrier that was supposedly hit yesterday by Houthi missiles. There's no official confirmation from the U.S. military that the Dwight Eisenhower aircraft carrier was hit. But I want to remind you guys, if an aircraft carrier was actually hit by the Houthis or any American naval warship, the U.S. military is not going to be so quick to admit that that happened, okay? Because it would make the current president and the current administration look bad if the Houthis are able to hit one of our carriers or one of our destroyers. But we did have unconfirmed reports yesterday that the Dwight Eisenhower may have been hit, and it is now 400 kilometers north of where it was last night. So last night it moved to the port of Jeddah in Saudi Arabia after the second attempted attack by the Houthis on the carrier. So they tried to attack the carrier twice on Saturday. And after the second attempted attack or potentially successful attack, it moved to the port of Jeddah. And now it's 400 kilometers north of Jeddah. Okay, so 400 kilometers is roughly like 250 or so miles north. Okay, so that is very unusual for an aircraft carrier to suddenly move like 300 or 400 miles in 2 days, basically, because when it went to the port of Jeddah in Saudi Arabia, it was actually already 100 plus kilometers north of where it was after the second hit. So after the second hit or second attempt, it moved like 100 kilometers north to the port of Jeddah, and now it's 400 kilometers north of that. Okay, so something must have went down if this aircraft carrier suddenly moved, 500 kilometers in 24 hours or so. Okay, and we have some major breaking news coming in from Europe. The BBC News is reporting that France has given Ukraine permission to use Scalp and Storm Shadow missiles to strike airfields in the Kursk and Belgorod regions. Okay, so France and Great Britain have given Ukraine permission to use their cruise missiles to strike airfields in Kursk and Belgorod in Russia. Okay, this is in southwestern Russia. These are the two provinces in southwestern Russia that are bordering northern Ukraine. France and Great Britain are allowing Ukraine to use their Scalp and Storm Shadow missiles to strike airfields in those regions. This is huge news, guys, okay? Dmitry Medvedev, the former president of Russia, said on Friday that the West is miscalculating with thinking that the tactical nuclear missiles that are on high alert in Russia now along the border of Ukraine are just a bluff. And he basically said that the West miscalculated with the invasion, thinking that Russia would not invade Ukraine, and they did. And he's saying that now the West is miscalculating that Russia would actually use tactical nukes on Ukraine. Okay, so this is very, very serious, guys. Vladimir Putin warned this past week in Uzbekistan at a press conference that if Ukraine uses Western weapons to strike deep into Russia, then Russia would respond by striking European countries, okay, and potentially areas where these weapons are being transferred into Ukraine. So, very, very serious, guys. And the Ukrainian Defense Forces launched a massive wave of HIMARS rockets towards the Belgorod region last night, according to the Russian media. Apparently, Russian air defenses destroyed 50 Ukrainian drones, 23 HIMARS shells, 2 Tochka U missiles, 1 Neptune missile, and 3 Hammer aerial bombs in one day. Okay, that's what Russian media is claiming now. All right. And we do know that Russia's advance in the Kharkiv Oblast has slowed down and halted, and now the Ukrainians are going to try to push the Russians back over the border, but I don't think they're going to be successful. Okay. There's a lot of people out there saying, oh, Ukraine is getting ready to counterattack and they're going to push the Russians back. No, it's not going to happen, guys. Okay. Russia has a massive amount of equipment, they have a massive amount of manpower. Ukraine is just barely holding the lines that are existing right now. Okay. Russia is just doing probing attacks right now, and they're still making gains along the entire front line. Okay, they're making small penetrations all along the front line. All right. What Russia's doing is they're looking for a weakness. As soon as they find a weakness, they're going to exploit it and they're going to send all their forces there. And actually, what Russia did in the Kharkiv Oblast is actually smart, because they've pushed Belgorod out of artillery range of Ukrainian artillery, okay, with the exception of the Western HIMARS system. But most of Ukraine's artillery now can't reach Belgorod because Russia set up that buffer. It's like maybe a 5 or 10 mile buffer along their border. This update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply has brought back their 25% discount on their 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the discount, you got to use the link preparewithnYprepper.com. And the link is in the description below this video. But this 3-month emergency food supply has a 25-year shelf life. It includes over 2,000 calories per day, breakfasts, lunches, dinners, drinks, and snacks, all contained within 6 rugged water-resistant buckets, and free shipping is included. So use the link preparewithnYprepper.com to get $200 off or 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply. The link is in the description below this video. Free shipping is included. They also have a general store where they sell all kinds of prepping and survival products, and they're always running various discounts. And to get to their general store, you just got to click on the My Patriot Supply logo when you get to preparewithnYprepper.com at the top of the page, and you'll see their general store where they sell all kinds of prepping and survival products, and they're always running discounts here. So use the link preparewithnYprepper.com to get 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply, and the link is in the description below this video. So they pushed into Ukraine about 5 to 10 miles, and also that puts Kharkiv city in the range of Russian artillery. Okay, I want to remind you guys that Russia does not have to actually take Kharkiv over. Okay, it's enough for them to get within artillery range of Kharkiv and just pound the city constantly with artillery every single day until Ukrainians flee, and then they're just going to take the city over with no fight, or they're just going to rubble the entire city, which I hope that doesn't happen, because Kharkiv is a beautiful city. There's some beautiful architecture there, so I really hope and pray that Russia does not do that, especially because it's like their own historical city going back hundreds of years. Okay, so that would be really stupid if they did that. but that's potentially what Russia could be doing here. Okay. And want to just show you guys some VIP flights today. So we have one U.S. Navy VIP plane heading to DC from Cabo Verde. Very interesting. And then here we have a U.S. Air Force VIP plane that appears to be landing in Spain. And this one took off from Virginia Beach. Now, we do have some nuclear bombers here in Spain. This is where we usually keep our nuclear bombers. Our B 52s and our B 1s are usually stationed here in Spain, okay, at the air base over there. Here's a satellite picture from today showing the Dwight Eisenhower aircraft carrier 400 kilometers north of where it was last night and 500 plus kilometers north of the location where it actually was attacked. Okay, so this thing is on the move. So I'm going to continue to monitor this, but just remember, guys, if one of our carriers or destroyers did actually get hit, whether it's here or anywhere in the world, the military is not going to be quick to admit that, okay? For various reasons. They don't want panic. They don't want the administration and the president to look bad. They don't want America to look like their Navy is a paper tiger, okay? So the military is not going to suddenly come out the next day and say, oh, by the way, our aircraft carrier got hit by Houthi missiles. They may never tell us, okay? So if you're one of those people that needs 100% proof of everything, then this is not the channel for you. Okay, this is a free thinking, open minded channel. And if you have a problem with that, then don't watch. Okay, we talk about possibilities here, we talk about theories here, we have an open mind, we think freely. If you only report on 100% facts, you're really limiting yourself. And here we have a picture that was posted by the Polish defense minister showing him and the Polish prime minister visiting the Polish border with Belarus. And he said here in this tweet that basically Poland is deploying 6,000 more soldiers to the border. And I want to remind you guys that Poland has already deployed a paratrooper brigade to the border of Belarus. The 25th Air Cavalry Regiment of the Polish Army was deployed to the border of Belarus. They already have like 10,000 troops on the border of Belarus that got deployed there like 2 years ago. And now they're deploying another 6,000. And then you have the fortifications that they're going to be building along the border of Poland and Belarus. They're going to spend the equivalent of $2.5 billion on border fortifications in eastern Poland. So the tall guy here with the black beard is the Polish defense minister. The guy to the right of him is the Polish prime minister. Okay. And here we have this post from this new Polish Twitter page called Tarcza Wschód, which means Eastern Shield. And this is that new program that the Polish military and the Polish government has unveiled, where they're going to harden their eastern border with Belarus and Russia. So you can see here the country of Poland, and then the eastern part of it has like a shield. Okay. And they talk about the different components of this eastern shield. It says here there's going to be Baltic cooperation. This is an initiative with Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. This is going to be the biggest fortification in Polish history with state-of-the-art equipment. There's going to be drone forces deployed. And also they're going to have anti-missile systems, reconnaissance, balloons, early detection aircraft, satellite and radar reconnaissance. They're going to spend the equivalent of 10 billion zloty, which is the Polish currency. That's roughly about $2.5 billion to build this Eastern Shield. So this is huge news, guys. And here we have some video footage coming out of Ukraine showing what appears to be an entire Slovenian tank brigade being moved into Ukraine. So Slovenia sending a massive amount of equipment to Ukraine. Here you can see what appear to be some kind of towed artillery systems maybe a recovery vehicle here. This looks like a recovery vehicle. Bunch of tanks here covered in tarps. These look like maybe T-72s or possibly even Leopards or M1 Abrams. You can see those rectangular vents in the back uh, protruding through the tarp. These could even be some Abrams or Leopards that are disguised. Yep, it could be. You see the vent right there and the sand colored paint. Those could be M1 Abrams. Wow. So multiple M1 Abrams going into Ukraine. Here we have some more vehicles here. These look like American MRAPs, sand colored MRAPs. And not sure what this is here. It's hard to see. Looks like some kind of excavator, some kind of armored excavator. And then here we have some utility trucks here. And then here we have what appear to be T-72s, a whole bunch of them. Okay, look at all these T-72s going into Ukraine. So guys, the war in Ukraine is not going to stop. It's not going to end. Putin is not going to give up. It's only going to escalate, okay? So get prepared because this is a massive tug of war between NATO and Russia, and neither side wants to back down. Ukraine doesn't want to back down, and Russia doesn't want to back down for simple reasons. Okay, Ukraine had 20% of their territory taken away, so they're not going to want to back down. And Putin is not going to want to back down because if he does, he's going to look weak. Okay, so this is a massive ego battle between Zelensky and Putin. Neither side wants to back down. And this appears to be an M1 Abrams right here under this camo tarp. So very serious, guys. Things are escalating in Ukraine. And Russian President Vladimir Putin wants to hike Russia's income tax rate for the first time in 20 years in order to fund the war in Ukraine. I want to remind you guys that Russia is already spending about 9% of their GDP on their military and 30% of their budget. Okay. And Britain's MI5 counterintelligence service has shifted its focus from potential terror threats to challenges posed by spies of near-peer adversaries, including Russia, China, and Iran. This was reported by The Telegraph yesterday, citing military sources. And the first group of French military instructors are on their way to Ukraine, according to senior Ukrainian MP Alexei Goncharenko. And Finland says it's going to equip their new F-35 fighter jets with long-range cruise missiles from the United States, the JSAM-ER. The longer-range cruise missiles will enable Finland to strike targets in all of northwestern Russia, including for the first time Moscow. And Poland and the Netherlands are currently waiting to receive JSAM-ER missiles. They already placed orders for them, with Poland placing the most massive order of 1,000 JSAM-ER missiles. And according to reports, Britain, France, and Germany are aiming to take action against Iran's nuclear program ahead of this week's meeting of the UN Atomic Energy Agency. Several diplomats told Reuters that the countries are determined to act against Iran, despite the opposition of the United States, which apparently fears further escalation in the Middle East. So this is very interesting. Britain, France, and Germany, the Western European superpowers, are going to try to take some kind of action against Iran, despite what the Biden administration wants to do. And the Ukrainians destroyed a Russian logistics base in the Belgorod region of Russia in Shebekino. Apparently, the entire logistics base was wiped out by Ukrainian missiles or potentially American missiles. And Israel rejected Biden's ceasefire proposal, and an aide to the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, confirmed on Sunday that Israel had accepted a framework deal for winding down the Gaza war that was proposed by Biden. But Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu described the ceasefire proposal as being flawed and in need of much more work. But it does look like Israel actually rejected it. And there was a massive rocket attack on northern Israel earlier today that came from Hezbollah in Lebanon. And in the month of May, there were 325 attacks on Israel from Hezbollah, which is the most amount of attacks since the start of the war in Gaza. So it looks like Israel may go into Lebanon very soon. And what you're looking at here is some video footage of Donald Trump showing up to the UFC fight on Saturday night last night, and he was escorted by Dana White. This came just days after he was convicted of 34 felonies, okay? So Donald Trump showing defiance, hanging out with his buddies at this UFC fight. But get prepared, guys, because his sentencing is going to be on July 11th. And I believe, depending on what his sentence is, it could cause civil unrest in this country, okay? So please prepare yourselves, especially if you live in densely populated areas. Be prepared for possibly riots and all kinds of chaos. Here we have some pictures coming out of South Dakota. This was sent by a viewer of the channel, and there was a massive amount of U.S. Army vehicles in South Dakota in the Black Hills region for some reason. Not sure why, but here's what appears to be some kind of a logistical truck. Not sure what it's transporting here. And these are just a few pictures that were sent to me, but this person told me there was just a massive amount of these vehicles, potentially dozens, passing through the Black Hills. These look like potentially missile pods, maybe for the Avenger missiles. I'm not too sure. It's hard to tell by these pictures. Here's some more trucks. Appears to be a fuel truck over there. And here's another one. This looks like some kind of a generator. So wanted to just share that with you guys. Okay. And here we have a picture coming out of northern Israel. You can see this massive plume of smoke coming up from the horizon. This is from the Hezbollah rocket attacks on northern Israel earlier today. Look at that, guys. That is just insane. These are massive attacks, guys. We're not talking about little mortar shells. Okay, we're talking about Birkin missiles and massive missiles that are the equivalent of like an ATACMS or something. You know, they cause a lot of damage here, okay? And the Israelis, they live with this every single day. And the media doesn't talk about it. They talk about Ukraine a lot and all the cities in Ukraine that get destroyed, but they never talk about Israel and how Israel has been pounded by Hezbollah, not just in the last few months, but basically the last 10, 20 years. They've always been under this threat and constantly being attacked. And here we have a British Air Force military cargo plane that returned to Britain from Estonia, dropped off some cargo there. So we're continuing to see military cargo planes going into the Baltic countries, moving lots and lots of equipment into the Baltics to prepare for this Russian attack on the Baltics. Here we have a British A400 military cargo plane that went to Rzeszów in southeastern Poland. This is the city that is the Ukraine weapons hub. This is where all Western weapons go before going into Ukraine. This is the city in Poland where all Western weapons go to before going into Ukraine. Here's a Canadian Air Force plane going to Rzeszów as well. And here we have a German Air Force plane, looks like a German military cargo plane that went to the capital of Lithuania, Vilnius. And Canada just indicated it will be joining the U.S. Indo-Pacific Defense Initiative and deploying warships to the South China Sea as Chinese tensions with the Philippines and Taiwan escalate. And the Chinese army is ready together with the Russian army to defend justice in the world. That's what the Chinese Ministry of Defense stated on May 31st. And the Chinese Defense Minister Dong Jun said whoever dares to split Taiwan and China will be crushed to pieces and suffer his own destruction. And the Chinese Defense Minister recently got full command over the Central Military District in China, which is normally under the control of the Communist Party Military Commission. So this could be a sign that China is preparing for war. if they're transferring control of their central military district over to the defense minister. And this district, like I said, normally under the control of the Communist Party. And Chinese state media said on Sunday that personnel on a Philippine ship pointed guns at China's Coast Guard in disputed waters of the South China Sea last month. And Typhoon Malixi caused massive flooding in the southern Fujian province in China. Also, the Zhangzhou province received 113 millimeters of rainfall in 1 hour, which is like about 4 to 5 inches of rain, and 220 millimeters in 6 hours, which is about 9 or 10 inches of rain. And Typhoon Malixi made landfall in Yangtze County, Yangjiang City, south of China's Guangdong province at around 12:55 a.m. local time on June the 1st as a tropical storm, becoming the first typhoon to land in China this year. So here we have some video footage coming out of China showing the massive flooding there. Look at this, guys. These cars are just literally like floating in the water. They're like boats. Okay. Look at the wake from this vehicle. It looks like maybe a street bus or something. Yeah, it looks like a street bus. But these cars are just literally floating. So this is just absolutely insane. And here we have these massive cracks that have developed in China. Look at this, guys. This is insane. I think this is from all the rain, or it could be from seismic activity. But you have these massive cracks in the earth that have opened up in China. And North Korea is mad about U.S. aerial surveillance and has accused the U.S. of committing air espionage and issued a warning that it could end in disaster. And for the 5th day in a row, North Korea is currently conducting GPS jamming attacks near the northern limit line in the West Sea. And South Korea is reportedly discussing to resume loudspeaker broadcasts at the DMZ in response to the balloon provocations from North Korea. Preparations have already been completed and are ready to be turned on at any time. Okay, so this is coming after 900 balloons filled with feces and trash were sent across the border into South Korea. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I may be back later on tonight with another update. So make sure you're subscribed. Hit the bell icon down below so you get notified when I post these updates. Also, follow me on Telegram and Twitter. The links to my Telegram and Twitter are in the description below this video. I post all my videos over there. So if you follow me over there, you'll never miss an update. But until later on tonight, have a good afternoon. Enjoy your Sunday. Remember to thank God for all the blessings in your life. And until later on, take care. God bless. And don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.